Let's get some perspective now with Angelita Morillo. She's a member of the Portland City Council. Miss, thank you so much for being with us. I want to play some sound for you of Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem from the White House yesterday. Let's listen.
I was in Portland yesterday and had the chance to visit with the governor of Oregon and also the mayor. They're in town and they are absolutely covering up the terrorism that is hitting their streets. These leaders in these local cities, along with Pritzker and Johnson, ignore what's going on, or, sir, they're helping Antifa cover it up.
I wonder what you say to those claims, whether there is terrorism and whether you're helping Antifa cover it up.
You know, I never thought that renowned puppy killer Kristi Noem would be so afraid of protesters wearing frog costumes and chicken costumes, but here we are. Our city provided very classic dignitary protections for dignitaries that come into our city. It was nothing out of the norm. We were not hiding anything. The reason she didn't see anything on the ground is because everything here is under control. People are exercising their right to free speech as they are allowed to under the Constitution, if that still matters. But no, nothing is out of control. There is no terrorism happening here. I think that they are just a very scared people.
Now that clip was Portland City Councilor Angelita Morillo. She is not my city councilor. I think this presents a good opportunity to discuss the fact that here in Portland, we voted to completely restructure our city council. I've lived here for 17 years, and I have in that time been frustrated with city council 99% of the time. So we used to have a mayor and our city councilors who represented the entire city. And what we ended up with was a lot of corruption and a lot of prioritization of the Portland Business Alliance, which is so deeply unpopular here that they've rebranded themselves Portland City Chamber. What is it that they call themselves now? Whatever, they're still PBA. So there's been a lot of prioritization of what big business wants here and not what is best for the people. We had a basically lumber baron as our mayor for multiple terms, and parts of the city like East Portland, where I live, that are not affluent, are not predominantly white, and have experienced decades of redlining and discrimination, were treated as a dumping ground by city council. And so too many parts of the city were really fucking fed up with Ted Wheeler and folks like Mingus Maps and Carmen Rubio and Renee Gonzalez. Oh, you guys, I should have brought out my fuck Ted Wheeler hat for this video. So we decided that we'd had enough of this shit and we voted to restructure our city council. And so now we have these districts, right? I have 3 city councilors who focus on my part of town and make sure that they are advocating for our corner of the city. So Councilor Murillo is in a different district than mine, but I appreciate the work that she's doing both for her district and our whole city. And I guess I want to repeatedly bring up Portland City Council restructuring because I know that there's a lot of conversation about how American politics is fucked and that we don't have good representation in this country. We have, especially on the national level, we have a lot of elected officials who put their corporate donors and put foreign interest, put dark money above all else. This is supposed to be a representative democracy that is of, by, and for the people, where we each have our little scoop of power, and we loan that power to our representative who is supposed to advocate for us in Congress. Power comes through the consent of the governed. And for too long in this country, at least since Citizens United, but before that, we've seen establishment politicians who care far more about their wealthy donors, about dark money, than they do about their constituents. And I guess as we're going into the primary season, where a lot of Democrats especially are really effing fed up with corporate Democrats that are supposed to be representing their district, but just fucking aren't. And if you are in a district where obviously the Republicans don't give a shit about you, they have abandoned their constituents long ago in order to serve Donald Trump and his fascist agenda. I guess I just want to give you a little bit of hope and to give you a little bit of a glimpse of what it can look like when the people decide that they have had enough, that their representatives are fucking them over and are putting big business or putting billionaires or putting wealthy people and corporations over the people. That we actually do have the power, and we have to remember that we have the power, and we can take that power back, and we can choose to make significant changes. I know that our restructured city council is new, but we're already seeing a lot of the benefits. My kids and I have had this conversation so many times, like, oh my God, could you imagine if Renee Gonzalez was running city council right now? Could you imagine if Ted Wheeler was still in charge? Thank God that old crew is not running Portland City Council in 2025. So as we're looking at going into the primary season, and then as we're looking at what happens after we stop the Trump regime, right? We can't just say, what are we against? We have to say, what are we for? What is it that we dream of? What kind of future do we want? So often when I ask that question, what do you want in America going forward? What is the thing that you think would be most helpful in fixing the problems of this country? Over and over and over, I hear overturning Citizens United, or getting dark money out of our politics, or having elected representatives who actually want to represent their constituents, who understand that they are public servants, that their position is one of representing the people so that democracy can function. It's not one where they are trying to grab power and become wealthy, and it's not one where they are serving big business and the billionaires. I want you to think about what that would look like. How it is possible to restructure. It is possible to build something different if the people have this groundswell, if we have this collective desire where we are fed up with this shit and we want to do something new. I don't think all of electoral politics is hopeless. I don't think that we should give up on all of the frameworks that are in place. The people of Portland, Oregon, we used those frameworks to completely redo our city council, right? The people wanted representation. We were tired of a city government where we felt that our voices were not heard. And in fact, where we felt that city government felt that they didn't have to listen to us at all as long as they were listening to the Portland Business Alliance, because that's where the money came from, right? So yes, Angelita's interview, awesome. Yes, she's absolutely right. Portland is not overrun. It's not a city on fire. We who live here will continue to document the fact that our city is very quiet. There is now a 24-hour-a-day camera going on the ICE facility. You can look for yourself, and you can see very quickly that Kristi Noem and Donald Trump are lying through their fucking teeth. But I guess I also just want to keep focusing us back on the fact that we have the most power at a local level. We have the greatest ability to influence what is happening in this country and to have control over our governance, to make sure that we get representation, that our voices are heard, that we are protecting democracy, and that we are building functional governmental systems right on the local level. We have the most influence on a local level, and it's not just national politics. It is local and state politics where so much of the defense of democracy happens, so much of setting the expectation for how government should work happens first on a local level, right? I get frustrated when people want to vote third party in a national election and have not done the work to support Working Families Party or to support the DSA or whatever local party you have here. You have to build a party from the ground up. If you want a viable third party, you got to build it from the ground up, which is, of course, why the Republicans crash out over Portland, because oh my God, we have DSA members in government here. But that very much we set up functional systems on the local level, and then we seek to expand that and amplify it at the state and federal level. So I really encourage you, as we're thinking about what the future of this country is going to look like, what we want going forward, what kind of changes we need to have as a nation, think about how you can enact that on a local level. Think about what we've been able to accomplish thus far in Portland, and whether that's something that your city could replicate. What would it look like to start making those reforms and changes right outside your back door, right at your local city council? What would it look like to then step that up to the state level and then the federal level? Because we're going to need a lot of reforms. We need dark money out of our politics. I really respect my congresswoman for consistently saying that members of Congress should not be able to trade in single stocks. We have to get dark money. We have to get foreign money out of our politics. We need to overturn Citizens United. We need a representative democracy in this country. I was going to say once again, but maybe for the first time. Also, one more time, Portland, not a war zone. There's nothing going on. I went to the Saturday market today. It's quiet. Downtown is quiet. Go tell your Fox News relatives to go watch the live stream on the ICE facility. The regime is really desperate, and so they're telling really pathetic, easily disproven lies. They're hoping that nobody will fact check them. That's why we, the American people, are making sure that we tell the true stories of what's happening in our neighborhoods, in our communities, in our cities. I love my city. I am so proud of Portlanders in this moment in time. And I'm also really proud of us for deciding that we wanted to try and make a city government that could work for us. And we were willing to take a risk on those reforms. And I think it is serving us well in this moment.